ensure that your microphone is on mute so that we don't distract each other. Okay. Let me share my screen.
You know she's under some love spell. He walked away and I was totally speechless. Sure. Later that night, I got more content from the kid.
Please mute. Please mute.
And one time.
Great. We are here this evening for this forum, Parents of Form 4 Graduate. But also during the day, I received some concerns or some questions from even parents who don't have Form 4 graduates or Form 4 leavers. And I told them, you know what, just come, because the information that you're going to share tonight is going to help us, is going to help you, whether you have a Form 4 graduate or not, it's going to help you. And you will understand why I'm saying it's going to help you, even if you are not in, you don't have a Form 4 graduate. I also got some concerns from a parent who wants the child to repeat because she feels that they didn't perform well. Also, a very warm welcome. You will you'll benefit from this session. There is also a parent who reached out and he was like, my son finished, completed, but I don't know what he's supposed to do. And the first thing that came in my mind, why are you thinking that you don't know what your son is supposed to do? He should have an idea. He should have a glimpse of at least what he wants to do. And so by the fact that you're here, you are going to benefit. And I want to request you have an open mind to learn. Also, feel free to ask questions as they come. You can type them. I'll be able to see. I'm having this session because of a gap in the market or a gap in our learning institutions, and where an institution that is supposed to give parents confidence, excitement, satisfaction, it is no longer giving that, because of the things that we are seeing happening in institutions of higher learning, colleges, universities. We know and we have seen, if not our children or our relatives, we have seen a neighbor's child, we have heard what is happening in the media. We have had experience, really. We cannot ignore the noise that is there. For most of you, we are meeting the first time, and my name is Brenda Karemi. I'm a youth coach, a mentor, and a trainer. I work with teenagers and young people who are below 26 years old. And I'm very passionate about them because I know that their lives are in a position where they can be shaped, and they can be helped to make the right decision. And when I'm having sessions for teenagers, I always tell parents, yes, this is a complete human being, your teenager is a complete human being, but not mature. There are some organs of their bodies and their brain are still developing. And so let's extend grace even as we're dealing with him, One person was very present when I was in the university, very, very present. And it's because of the exposure that my mother gave me when I was very young. As young as 13 years old, as young as 14 years old, my mom really exposed me to so many trainings, and I was brought up really in the village, and she would pack me, she would help me pack clothes from one camp to another, from one training to another. And in the village, most of these were free, were pro bono, And so because of the many trainings that I attended and the many sessions, I was active in charge from a time when I was very young. when I got to the university, I was alert and I could see the things that were happening and I was able to make some decision. At the same time, I saw what, please, if you are not on mute, kindly mute so that we don't, I'm not distracted. Amy, please help me mute. People are not muted, please. Thank you. So I was alert. I could see some young people, and there is a link I shared of my Facebook, private Facebook account of a story I was sharing of a girl who joined university at the age of 17. And we happened to be in the same room, the same hostel. We were staying away from the university, you know. And in the university, there's something that is called Freshers' Night. And she chose to go. It was on a Friday. And she went, but then she came back on Monday morning, having piercings on her body, from nose, you know, the tongue, there were the ears, and really there's nothing wrong with that, and the navel, but you could clearly see she didn't make a sober decision because she came back on Monday while she was drunk. This is a 17-year-old girl. 2 days out and her life is totally changed. And right now I think about it because I didn't get the chance to ask her. From that time, she started going out a lot, missing classes, you know, and now because she was brought in school by the parents, the parent took my number. I mean, I was the old one here. I was over 18. And so whenever they would send money, they would send money using my number. And the weekend, the girl is not there. So the parents are calling me and I'm like, I don't know where this girl is, you know, and they were so stressed up until or that Monday when she switched off on her phone and she reached out to the parent. But clearly her life changed completely. She started getting drunk and many other things, you know, and we cannot ignore what's happening. And that is why I'm here, just to enlighten you as parents of how you can support your child, your son, your daughter. I know it reaches a point and they feel like, I know everything. Mom, I'm an adult. Mom, nimepata hata ID. What are you telling me? Mom, I know. Don't tell me. You know, but the fact remains is that they need help. They need guidance. You know, good things, amazing good things are happening in the university. At the same time, terrible things are happening. And if we are all asked, we would want our children to have the best experience, to make best of the opportunities in the university, because there are many opportunities in the university and colleges, you know, whichever college your child is going, whether a university, whether she's going to do a diploma, a certificate, whichever, there are many opportunities that they can take advantage of. Okay, so there are good things that are happening in universities and we cannot ignore. We are having youth getting transformed in the university. And when I talk about salvation, there is a spiritual aspect, but also there are those who realize and discover themselves while they are in the university. I have had cases of young people who joined a university or college to do a certificate and their lives became better. They realized themselves, they discovered themselves. Others gave their life to Christ and their life transformed completely, you know. Sorry. We have young people who are doing businesses in the university, legit businesses, whether online, whether offline. We have and we know stories. Personally, when I was in the university, I was selling inner clothes for ladies. For girls. Sally, please mute. I was selling some inner clothes. I was in the Christian Union. Sometimes when they are putting on the uniform, I would rush to the market, get ties for men and at a certain price, and then I come and sell them at a marked up price and I'll get some money, you know. In this era of technology, we are having young people selling things online, legit, and they are making money. They are able to have some savings. Some even are paying for their upkeep. So really, there are good things that are happening. There are innovation, and we have seen them even in the television of amazing things that young people are coming up with. But also, we have had cases of murder. We have had cases of LGBTQ. You know, your child leaves, your son leaves, or your daughter leaves home while she's a girl. But along the way, she tells you, Mom, you know, I'm a boy, you know, or I'm a man. And you wonder what happened along the way. We are having issues of drugs. You have brought up your child in Christian values, you know. They have never had an experience of drugs. No one in the family takes drugs, but along the way, they get into drugs, you know. And we are all worried. That's for a fact. We have had families that are being started in the university. You know, you send your daughter, your son to the university, they start cohabiting, kidogo kidogo, they have a child, you know. While you're sending money for support, they are also supporting another baby and they're not coming at home. And the excuses are, nimepata kibarua, there is an internship, you know. So you are staying even for a whole year without seeing your child and without seeing your daughter, you know. And it's really worrying. And so institutions that were supposed to give us comfort and excitement, we are now looking forward for the bare minimum. I just want my son to graduate, you know. We are not even worried about the values and everything else. We just want them to graduate. Please, enda tu malize. You come out alive, you know. And really, is that a best position to be? We need to be confident of our children that they are out, that they are exploiting their potential. They are meeting other people. They are not at home. They are getting some other values, you know, that are making them to be better. And in a particular group where I am, I had asked a question. What are some of the concerns that parents have, parents of Form 4 leavers? What are some of the concerns? And parents really came out very strongly. Surprisingly, there is no one who said, I'm worried about school fees, I'm worried about upkeep. And these are some of the things that are worrying parents. And you'll tell me if you can resonate, if you're part of this, you know. And one parent said, and you can clearly see this a screenshot from Facebook, I've hidden the name. You can clearly see what the concern of these parents, peer pressure. But I know of parents of young adults living within the schools are opting to have day scholars, but after talking with them and coming to a common understanding, me thinking that staying in hostel or school is better than renting a house. So this parent feels, I better, my child or my son, they better stay in school as opposed to getting hostels outside. But you see, the resources are limited. In as much as you'd want your child to stay in school, there are not enough hostels, you know, they cannot all be hosted in the hostels. I have had the experience of parents who choose that their children will be commuting. I don't want my son, my daughter to stay in school. They'll be commuting. Nitatafuta hiyo shule iko karibu na nyumba. They'll be coming home with the hope that you reduce the experiences, or rather the exposure of your child. But also, another parent said, drugs, alcohol, wababa, safety in hostels and outside, you know, like wababa for the young girls, it's becoming something, you know, because they have to fit in. They need to put on those high heels. They need to have those iPhones. And really, as a parent, your priorities are different. And again, you cannot like provide all the things so that your child fits in that community or in their community. So they are afraid. We are having incidences. There is one that was in the media last week, or was it last week, but one, where a girl was betrayed by their friend, and and she was kidnapped. Was it from Nakuru? Yeah, and she was kidnapped. And who wants that for their child? But you see, this was a friend, a close friend, that they in the same class, so you wouldn't expect. But also, these are some of the other things. Sexual affairs that include LGBTQ, wababa or sponsor, sexually transmitted, grades, praying lecturers, safety, security. The other parent is saying safety and the ability for them to make wise decisions despite the peer pressure and newly found freedom. And they continue to say, I accompanied my daughter on her first day to a university hostel, and the caretaker told her that her biggest survival weapon will be the values she is bringing with her from home. Absolutely, So really, there are concerns, and I know you're here because also you are in that category. There are concerns that you're having. How will my child be? How will life be? Will they be able to make informed decisions? Will they be firm? Will they have strong boundaries? There are concerns that we have, parents, and all is not lost. They need help. They need guidance. I know we have instilled values, integrity, honesty, communication skills, time management, and you have been telling them all these things since the time they were kidogo. But let me ask you, for example, my own personal experience, when I was doing my project, you are assigned a supervisor, and my supervisor was having classes in another university. So most of the time would be available in the evenings. But during my project time, he was coming to the college past 8 p.m., and I am forced to show up so that we discuss the project. He guides me, gives me feedback, and for them that have done project, this is how it happens. There is no other way out. And one of the days, he asked me, come to the nearest town. I'm not able to come to the university. You come to the nearest town, and he mentions the town. You come, we sort it out. And I'm just wondering why. And then he hangs up, and few minutes he sends me 10,000, and I'm like, okay, so what's the 10? What's the relationship? And so he calls immediately, and he tells me the money that I've sent is for your bus fare. And I'm thinking, this money is, the bus fare, or rather the fare from the university to the town, is 20 shillings. So what's the relationship between 20 shillings and 10,000? Okay. So quickly, I call my friend and I'm like, hey, this is what has happened. Blah, blah, what do I do? Because I'm confused. I need my project. Time is running. He wants me to go. Clearly, this 10,000 is not for bus fare. It's something else, And I call him, I'm freaking out. I've never experienced this. And he tells me, you know what, Brenda, send the money back. Send the money back and tell him that you're not available for that for that meeting. You can only be available while he's in the college. And I'm doing this and wondering, what about my project? I really need my project. Well, to cut the long story short, I escaped that trap. I was able to return the money. Of course, I didn't have money on M-Pesa, so I deducted the transaction cost and I sent the rest. And by God's grace, I was able to approve and to award me and to grade me. And I can say I escaped that narrowly. Now, imagine as a parent, you have taught your child integrity, you have taught your child good values, but they have never, ever been exposed to such. When this lecturer sent me the 10,000, he didn't tell me what the money was for. He didn't tell me. It's me to think very quickly and act. But also remember, I had fears about my project. How many young people are succumbing to that pressure? Because I just need to pass my exams. I need my project out. And so let me just do this, not because I want, but because I just want to graduate, So we can't be helpless. We can't, there is a way out, parent, there is a way out, and we cannot allow the enemy to pin us down so that we live in fear, wondering, where is my child? What are they doing? Once they delay out kidogo, we are all freaked out. We have panicked. Are they okay? Because sometimes even in school, their phone can go off. They don't have charge or something, and they are safe. So we don't have to freak out. There is a way out. And allow me to invite my colleague, Emmy. She has experience, and she'll tell us more about herself. I don't want to preempt. She tells us how was she able to manage, because she has released children to go to university. One is in abroad. I mean, how is that possible? Where did she get the confidence? Where did she get the guts? How is it for her? What is making her to be that sure that the son is doing well? Okay. And so allow me to welcome Amy. She'll not be able to put her camera on because of some few reasons, but please, she's competent in this, and she'll tell us more about herself. So some virtual claps, please, for Hemi as she joins us. Karibu sana.
Hi, Brenda. Hi, dear parents, and of course, fellow parents for that reason. I don't know, Brenda, please confirm if you can hear me well.
Yes, we can. We can hear you.
It's just very interesting. We just had a power outage, so I'm hotspotting. So it's very interesting. But really, thank you so much, Brenda. I really appreciate the privilege to be here in this platform today, and also to, of course, share the platform with you. And I really want to also appreciate the good work that you're doing. I think I would also want to really appreciate parents who are here today, because they've managed to, you know, to live whatever they were doing, just to be here and to listen and learn. And we really don't take it for granted that time. So really, thank you so much, parents, for doing this. Basically, I think I'll do a brief introduction of myself, and of course, dive straight to the few information or ideas that I have. And I just like the way Brenda has said that, yeah, parents really have ideas and, of how to deal with issues to do with their children, letting our children away and such like. First, all right, thank you so much, Brenda. So my name is Amy Chepkemoi Komen. I am a counseling psychologist by profession. I am also a pastor's wife for that reason, and I serve in a church. And so to add on that, maybe I'll just speak a little about my experience. I have been in this profession of psychology for the last 10 years, and I am providing therapeutic services to children, adults, and families, of course, to Kenyans. And of course, in my field of work, I also work with refugees, and I also work with asylum seekers. So I hold a degree or a master's degree in counseling psychology, and a bachelor's degree also with a counseling psychology from Park University. I did my master's in USIU Africa. And I'm really grateful to God for this privilege. And really, I also do pro bono services in our church and even in other sectors that I am given a chance to support. And so for that reason, I just want to dive straight to today's discussion. I just said earlier that I really appreciate the way Brenda has really brought it so clear and so openly on the challenges that we face as parents and the worries. I also like the way Brenda did a self-disclosure in terms of, having reflected some of the experiences that she did experience while she was in the university. And really, to get such information, it really takes someone to open it up and give that information to dear people who are willing to use the information to support others and also to support themselves. So first, I would like to give a brief introduction, of course, of myself as I've done, and also for my background. I want to say I have 3 children. They are all adults. The firstborn is 26 years old. Our secondborn is 23rd, and our last is 21. So basically, all our children are currently in the university, and so the very main reason why I think I'm here today is to also have to give how I was able to manage and help my children grow, and how I was able also to give them life skills for that reason. And what are some of the life skills that I imparted to their lives. So I think basically I'll just dive straight and mention some of the skills that I impart that we have. And so, of course, I'll just use the very basic ones, the very simple ones, the ones that we sometimes don't think it is a skill that we are giving to our children. And I know one thing that, of course, research also has shown outside there that the very main skills and the very important skills that we can give, or that can be given in a life of a child, or in a life of a person, the main six ones, the main six that have been identified, and I wanted to base my discussion on that so that we can be focused and we can see how it is really holistic and it is all-rounded. And so the main skills, of course, that I'm going to talk about today is the ones, of course, that informs our culture, informs our beliefs, informs even where we live, our geographical locations and such like. And so one of them is communication and interpersonal skills. And so this is really a wide thing, and it is really huge. However, it matters, or it depends on how we have been able to give it out to our children. And so this one broadly speaks about the skills that is needed for our children or for a person also to particularly transfer information or to verbally interact with other people. And so when we speak of communication, I believe we as parents have a big role right from the moment our children were small. And right now they are adults for that reason, or young adults, or if we may call for those of them who have not yet reached over 18, say those are still, say they are young adults for that reason. Yeah, so communication matters a lot, because when our children leave us, when our children are outside there with the rest of the people, where they interact with the world and the people around them, how is it that they present themselves? Are they the outgoing people? Are they, we have the different personalities. However, communication matters a lot, because your child needs to know how to communicate. Your child needs to, have that ability to express themselves, that ability to receive information and give feedback. So basically, actually, that is what communication is all about. Is your child able to even understand the things that they didn't hear? Are they able to understand the happenings in the surroundings? As a parent, that is your role, or those are some of the things that you really needed, or you really still need to do, and help your child to do that. Interpersonal skills, yes, our children are supposed to learn on how to relate with others. This speaks also to relational skills. Are our children able to relate with other people? Our children having that ability to interact freely and even mingle with other students, or other people in the world, because now we are speaking of those who have finished Form 4. And I hear some of us, our children are even past that age. So do they have this interpersonal skills? Are they able to communicate? Are they able to open up? Because you realize, Brenda just spoke about how some of our children have gone outside there and they find out themselves in issues to do maybe with drug abuse or drug use for that reason. We even have realized that most in the recent days, we've had high levels of suicidal cases. And we also realized that we could be even having children who are having suicidal thoughts. And we are not really, careful as parents, as per se. So when we have these interpersonal skills, and these children or our children have that ability, they are able to speak it up. They are able to communicate. They can freely express themselves. So really, that is one thing that it comes really out. And it is a skill that we really needed to have given, and even we can continue to see to it that we give it to our children. The other second, that's the second one I noted, Brenda, you noted communication and interpersonal as two different points. However, it's still okay. So decision making and problem solving is another skill. Very important. Very important. Why? Your child needs to be in a place where they can make a decision for themselves. They need to be in a place where they can say, this is right and this is wrong. They need to be in a place where they can step out and say, stand for themselves and say, this one I will not take, but this I will take. It is a skill. You as a parent, they learn. Our children learn, they see, our children also receive. And so this is something that we just want to check. Probably you are a good parent and maybe you have not noticed. All right, so are we okay? Brenda, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sorry, I thought there's an interruption for that reason. Yeah, so I'm talking about decision making and of course problem solving. Is your daughter, is your son in a state of decision themselves? Is your daughter in a state where they can, identify and say, this is a problem that I am facing. This is a situation that requires me to consider and say, what are the alternatives that I have for me to take this step? Is your child in a position to know that now I have identified this is a problem? How do I develop a plan, or how do I come up with a step or an action plan to deal with this situation? This is a skill that you can even sit down with your child. I know some of us, maybe the children are still growing and we still have more growing. So it is a skill that you really need to take it seriously. Help your child to understand this is a problem you have identified. Where is the problem? It is this. What can I do with a problem? I have known this is a problem. Look at the ideas that you have. What are some of the alternative ways of dealing with a problem? And then now identify the best solution for or way of dealing with that problem. And then develop an action plan and say, okay, fine. Let that child know that once they have identified a way to deal with that problem, let them check and see, did it work? Is it going to work? Yeah. So our children normally, they could be knowing on that, but they may not be in a position to make decisions for themselves. They could identify there's a problem, but they don't have the how. The how to do it, the how to solve it, the how to deal with it. So we have to let them be, but equipping them with that information and knowledge and ways of doing that. Yeah. And so I have had, like, for example, just using mine, as I said, my children are adults. And even right now, we still work with them. But when they have issues, they come over, I would ask them, so how did you decide to do this? How did you think you would go about this? And, I would want first to hear, what is it that they think? And then now guide. And you just support them with what they think is correct for them, because they are individuals and they have the ability to decide and make decisions. And so I know we still have the ones who just finished Form 4 and we are still guiding them very closely. However, it is good to allow them to make decisions for themselves. Let us allow them to know how to solve problems, because very soon they are leaving us and we will not be there to make decisions for them. Let us allow them and let us support them and even make them be people who can be depended on outside there and they can survive by their own. So we also have another skill that we have is creative thinking and critical thinking. This is the ability to think, of course, in an unusual way about problems. So creativity, and finding new solutions and also generating new ideas, and also coupled with the ability to assess information carefully and to understand the relevance. And so really, do you think your child is in a position to really think and say, okay, this is the situation, but can they think and have that ability and think otherwise, and listen to them? Sometimes we just have to listen to them Allow them be. Allow them to be and just support them, as I said earlier. Are they critically thinking? I know critical skills are being taught in schools, and they need to apply that. So basically, in short, that is what I would say about creative thinking. Let us allow our children to be creative as they go out there, even as they go to mingle with others. Some of us, we have left them to go out to go to colleges, Some of us, we have allowed our children even to go and interact and mingle. I love the way Brenda said just a few minutes ago that what is it that you have decided to do with that Form 4 who finished the other day? And I know the many things that are outside there. I know churches have programs. I like the way Brenda said, go for camps from one camp to the other. There are also other, Rabbi. We have good programs in French university, that they are oh, they can still work on these skills that they have. They will shine out. They will even bring it out so clearly. So let us think of what is it. Let us not keep that child in the house. Let keep them just sitting there. We can allow them to go out there. And so why I'm trying to say that is so that we can allow them also to thrive within their way of thinking and within their way of thinking, and also within their way of solving problems and such, like self-awareness and empathy. Do you think your child is aware of their emotional intelligence? Do you think they understand? Are they aware of their feelings? Does your child know when they are happy, when they are hungry, when they are feeling sad? Are they aware when they are feeling those emotions, those fluctuating emotions? Just as I said earlier, sometimes we find that our children could be having feelings, but they are not able to express them. Just because maybe they have not found a ground, they have not found a space, they have not found an environment that they can express their feelings and express themselves. And so what have worked for me is that anytime we meet, whether in the morning, in the evening, I would just want to listen and ask, how are you? How are you? So when I ask that question, I would want to hear not just telling me I'm fine. How was the day? I would like to hear the whole of yourself. I would like to hear my daughter tell me, Mom, I am feeling this way. I am okay. However, I am feeling a little bit sad. I am feeling a little bit disappointed because of this. Give them more ear because they are aware. Are they in that situation? Are they aware of what is happening in them? Are they feeling pain? Are they feeling discouraged? Are they feeling so down, maybe because of issues to do with their friends, to do with their, career, decision making? And so let them be in that place where they can have that freeness to be aware of their emotions, aware of their physical feelings, and let them express. It is a skill. Let them also allow our children to understand that empathy is a skill. Are they empathetic? Are they those children when even something happens within the house, or even you as a parent, they're like, oh, mommy, I'm sorry, this has happened. Oh, how are you feeling today? You feel so tired, please sit down. Our children need to understand that. I want to use an example that my daughter has. She has that skill of empathy. And really, I didn't think she had it until she made it so loud. And so my daughter has this friend. This friend of hers is she was in primary school with her, and now this friend just found herself in a very awkward situation because she comes from a dysfunctional family. And so out of that, coming from a dysfunctional family, she has found herself in a state where nobody is giving her support totally in regards to school, in regards to her health, in regards to it is a very awkward situation. And so my daughter took it so seriously, so empathetic. She would, whenever we are doing our devotions, she would mention the friend every time we are praying for her. Until now, it reached a point because the girl, the parents also one of the parents come from Uganda. And so the girl one time, the parents now had to relocate, and the girl is left alone and she doesn't have what to do. And my girl decides to go and bring the friend to our house. And so we had to listen to both of them. And she would tell me, Mommy, I am bringing her. We will just arrive and then we'll tell you the whole story. Though she would brief me. And so I realized that this girl really was so empathetic and she has a skill. And when she sees something is wrong, she is there to support. And so it is a skill in itself. However, our children needs to also know the boundaries of how much they can go in terms of relating with their friends and such like. So empathy in itself is a skill. Do you think your child is empathetic even within the environments that you are in? Do you think they can even empathize with their siblings? Do you think they can empathize? So it is a good skill, and we really need to make sure that we help our children. Assertiveness, and self-control. Assertiveness. The ability or the need to stand for yourself and other people in a simple manner. I know time may not be on our side, and to remain calm in a situation of provocation. Assertiveness and self-control. Do we think that our children have that skill? Are they assertive? Are they strong? Can they stand for themselves? Can they stand in adversity or in difficult situation? Can our children have self-control even when things are going haywire? Can our children speak for themselves when they see that there's a commotion, there are problems, there are things that are bad? Are they in that position to do that? And so let us know that assertiveness is a skill we need to impart to our children. Self-control is a skill we also need to make sure that happens. Of course, the last one is resilience, the ability to cope with problems or adversity. And so this one comes in when, of course, resilience, of course, I've talked about assertiveness, resilience. Do they have that ability to stand from setbacks? Can they jump? Can they come back to their rightful position? Can they stand even after going through that, after maybe fighting, after losing that friendship? Our children are at a stage right now, even they have relationships. They have relationships with girlfriends, with boyfriends and such like. Do they have that resilience that even when things don't go right, that they can stand, And they cannot just go into a situation where they just decide to maybe end their lives for that reason. Are they in a position to cope with problems? Simple problems and hard problems. So we as parents have that role to make sure that we allow our children to know that resilience is a skill, and coping with the problems is also a skill. And so they wouldn't just expect us as parents to be doing everything for them, to cushion them in everything. They are human beings. They also will grow, and they have grown, and they are going to adulthood, and they need to have that ability. And so maybe I'll just dive to the next another idea in terms of, so what is it? What are some of the critical life skills that maybe I have imparted into my children or has worked for my children as well? And so I know I have mentioned the first six that I mentioned, the life skills. However, there are some other critical ones that I wouldn't want to really discuss on them so much. Do you think your child has a capability to learn? Do they have that ability? Do they have that willingness to learn? Do you want to support them and to show them that there is need for you to grow and not just to be who you are and be satisfied with the might they have known? So I think at this point, it is very critical to have your child understand that the willingness to learn in itself is a skill. Open to learning. It is a skill. Now, I'll generalize these other skills that I'll mention right now. They are simple, very simple, but also critical and very good. Cooking. Cooking is in itself a skill. And so I'm talking like that as cooking, and I'm laughing because our firstborn is a son. And really, he had no option, but he had to learn to cook. And he knows how to cook. He cleans the house. He knows his role. He knows what he's supposed to do. At that age, our son, I remember when he finished Form 4, and sometimes he would come in late, and you'd find him having cooked tea and food, and he has left it on the dining table, and we just have to come and serve. And said, Mommy, I'm going to sleep, but your food is here and it's ready. he knows, even if there is nothing else, he has that ability. Having to help our children, those are very simple skills. But sometimes we as parents, we find ourselves, because of the nature of provision, maybe God has blessed us, and we have the chefs, we have the house managers supporting us, and we find that we don't allow our children to do that. I remember when my children were growing up, I would even allow the house help not to be in the house, so that I divide the work amongst them. And people would know that this day I'm up to date, even when they are in the house. You'd hear my daughter say, "Oh, today it's my duty. I'm the one cooking today and doing this." I don't plan for them. I don't plan for them. They know if they have to go and shop, they know what to do. So cooking is in itself a skill. Ask yourself, have I helped my child to do this? These days, there are online classes. You also even are there. Just create time for your child and you to support them even at this age and let them do it. I know my girl, even when she finished Form 4 and she was in college doing the first small courses. And I remember she decided to start baking cakes and she would take it to her friends and sell. And she does it. I didn't take so much time, but she had as a skill. And I do really appreciate. So another skill that it is good, you want to really observe and see that you keep driving is a skill. It's a very critical one. In the current situation, in the current life, you'd hear that someone is asked, do you have a license? Do you have an ID? It comes like ID, your license and all that. So think about equipping your child with the skills of driving. Very important. Does your child have the ability to do a budget? Can they budget? Can they budget? Can you give your child 100 shillings for that reason? And that money needs to be budgeted and they can have to do this and this and this. Do they have those skills? Does your child have that skill of doing housekeeping? Or your child is the one you have allowed them to be, they find everything in the bedroom has been done for them because we have a house. We may need to really think hard and say, fine, there are times when you just say the bedroom is yours, the kitchen is yours, the role is this one. Divide those roles. Let us allow these children to learn. Yeah. I'm thinking about my son. As Brenda said, my son is in America and he's been there for the last 2 years. One thing I really thank God for is that our son, when he was doing his attachment, he got an attachment. He was in Jomo Kenyatta Airport. And the attachment that he was attached to was doing customer care. And with that customer care, and most of the time he would come home and tell us, today I was helping an elderly person. And I was of course, helping them because they use wheelchairs. And so he would tell us how he was able to support them and take them somewhere, and of course, and to their destination and such like. And so with that open heart, and I realized this man, for that reason, has a lot of empathy. And he would come and sometimes express how he was feeling about that elderly person and all that. Now, when he went to America, because of course in America, you can't just be going to school and expecting your parents to be sending money every other day. And he went to America and he found that in America, you have to find a way of living. He is doing a job. He is doing and he's studying in the day, at night he's working. All I can say is I really thank God because we exposed him. He would go to our farm in the village. I remember the last few months before he left, he had stayed home for almost 6 months. He would go and till the farm. He would manage the farm for the dad. He would make sure that the cows, the whatevers, everything in the farm is well set. And so when this boy left, when he left and he was telling us, my mind is now clear and I know what I'm expected as a man. He made sure that when we took him home, he would know the farm that we have has boundaries from where to where, what is expected, what he is supposed to do. So those skills are very important. Time management is also another thing that we may really need to consider. And so what do parents need to do to their children as a strong foundation in college and beyond? And so maybe I'll just, of course, rush around over that. Brenda, please alert me in terms of time. Okay, I can see time is really gone or much spent. So nurturing, you as a parent, you need to have given a strong foundation of nurturing, parental nurturing. You encourage your child, allow your child, cheer them, give them hope, let them be optimistic for the future. You help them you really see that there is hope in this life and not give up. Even when things are not so good, help them, support them. Personal sacrifice as a parent, you need to be there, selfless, be there for your child, support them, give them all that they need in terms of listening to their dreams, listening to sacrifice your time to listen even to the things that they think for them it is important, but maybe for you may think it is not important. Give your child discipline. Don't fear to rebuke your child. Rebuke them, tell them this is not right, this is not right, this is wrong, and respect them as well, even as you give them discipline. And appreciate when they do. When they do the small, the big, appreciate them. Affirm them. Let us affirm them. Let us show them love. Let us also allow them to be to be responsible. I just mentioned about taking our children to the village, and I just mentioned that I wouldn't want to touch another example. Let them be responsible. Let them. My daughter right now, as I said, she's also in college, and running around for her own issues, and even running around to make sure that her things are well set. We've just supported her, but she's so responsible. She's the one running around to make sure that her things are in place. I had spoken about empathy, and that is another thing. It's a big thing. Let us teach our children to work hard, and let us teach our children also to know that people who are around us also need a lot of concern and support. And we provide also, we be loving to other people. The people around us needs to be taken care of. And so let us be very conscious on what we tell our children. Inner voice. Let our children be hearing good things from us as parents. That is very, very key as we build strong foundations in our children's life. Let that voice that you speak as a father, that voice you speak as a mother, leave a mark in the life of your child. That when your child, even as they grow up, even at that age of leaving high school right now, and they are going to college, let their ears, their minds remember that voice where you speak positive things, affirmations that I've just spoken. Positive message, let it reach into their ears and let them be excited about that. And wherever they are, they know that the parent, the mother, the father is very comfortable and they are ready to support. Let those messages come from you as a parent. Lastly, set an example as a parent. Parents, our behavior speaks so loud and so open, and it leaves our children to be shaped. They emulate whatever we do. And so it is us as parents to set an example and be good parents. We be parents with good values, strong ethics. If you are going to church, let your children know that we go to church, and it is very important for me to go to church. If it is a weekend and maybe there's something as a family you normally do, let them know that that is very important. If it is going home over holidays, going to see the grandparents, let them know that it is very important. Remember, time you are a grandparent and you will need to be seen. So set an example. Let them know that going to the grandparents' place is a good thing, and it is very important. So Brenda, I think at that point I should be ending and saying that really our children would really reflect. Our children will model what we have imparted in their lives. They will model what we have imparted. And so Brenda, I'll bring it over to you. I don't know if you have any question or any concern.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Amy. I really, really appreciate. I don't know if parents were grasping something, We really appreciate. There is a question from one of the parent, Esther, and she's asking, how do we then train them on these skills? How do we train them on this? Yes. And parents, if you have any other question, please just type. We take like 2 more and then we'll be done with the session.
All right, so thank you so much, Brenda. How do we train them on these skills? All right, some can happen unconsciously. I'm imagining if you're cooking with your daughter in the kitchen or with your son for that reason. So as you cook with them, you are listening to them. Remember, it is a skill, cooking in itself. However, unconsciously, you realize that you are listening, because actually where I connect with my children mostly is in the kitchen. It is a very good question. So you impart, you can purposely do them, like, because I did mention about communication and such like. You can decide to, maybe one of the days during dinner or after dinner, for those of us who have devotions, you can speak about communication and check with, do we communicate? Is it something that we would want to discuss with our children? Do we want to also discuss about problem solving within our family setting? That is how we impart the skills. And then now use the examples that you normally have within your setup or within your environment. So as I was talking about while cooking, because normally that is where I connect with my children most, is when we are in the kitchen and we would start a topic. I remember several times and many times when they would come from school, when they are from high school, and we would sit down and sometimes we would cry. Because my daughter would tell me, you know what, Mom, this is what happened. We leave cooking and then we start discussing. I would listen, give them an ear. You know, Mom, this is what happened. It was so hurting. She would cry. They would cry, listen, and and you already be allowing them to see that empathy is a skill in itself. Leaving everything that we were doing is being empathetic. And so unconsciously, you are already showing us an example by giving them full attention. Yeah, so that would be one of the ways I would mention. Yeah, Brenda, I don't know if that answers the question.
I think it does. Do we have any other parent with a question? Maybe you can type.
All right.
Priscilla says, thanks so much for this session. I feel empowered. You are very much welcome, Priscilla. We are not giving up on our children. We are not allowing ourselves to be scared, because we will not stay with them forever, And as Amy was speaking about critical thinking and creative way of solving problems, I remember in my first year, I was conned a whole 15,000 shillings, my ID, my phone, and I remember we were almost closing school. I mean, we were starting the exam the following day, and I was conned a whole 15,000, and it was in the evening. And I couldn't now sit for the exams because the exam card has been stolen as well. And not really stolen, being conned, where you're giving your ATM cards, your hostel key, and money that your PIN, your M-Pesa PIN. And you have to think so quickly to go and report and get the abstract so that you are able to sit for the exams, and such things. Also, I remember in my first year, there is this man who really loved me so much. Total stranger. And he fell in love with me. And so what he used to do, every time we are leaving class, he was insisting to escort me. Sim tanking, but he'll just be there to take me to my hostel. Sometimes he'll buy fruits, and I'm feeling so uncomfortable. What do I do? Wow, because he has not told me that he loves me, but he wants to spend time with me. He wants to be in my room, and it was very uncomfortable. It took some of my friends, because I was in the Christian Union. It took some of my friends and I told them, guys, please help me get out of this. Get over this man, And so whenever we would be through with our exams, instead of me walking alone, classes, instead of me walking alone, I would quickly go to my friends and we'll walk together. Who will teach our children these things? These things are not in YouTube. They are not in class. They're not anywhere, you know. And I also remembered when Emmy was also talking about cooking skill. This girl who we were staying with in the same house, the parents were teachers, secondary school teachers. This girl, the only thing she knew how to prepare was tea. Tea only. And
Nasikia tena
so,
kupika lazima mjue.
Judy, yes, you're telling them a good thing. Wajue kupika. So the only thing that she knew was preparing tea, nothing else. And so I was forced to be making dinner all the time. And if I'm not available, maybe I'm in fellowship or somewhere else, either she sleeps hungry or she goes to buy chips. I mean, really, who do we blame in this case? Okay. And then I also remember now after she changed and she came with mohawk and piercing and getting drunk, now she started bringing her friends in the house. And her friends were also drunkards, men and ladies. And it was very uncomfortable, you know. And sometimes they would come, I'm the one who has done the shopping in the room, and they would come and the boys would just get and cook. Maybe one cooks ugali, the other one takes my juice, you know, and I feel so irritated. And who will teach our children these skills? Where are they? Are they in any subject? They are not, you know. But you have to up your game. I always say I was not a bright child. Yes, I went to the university, but I was not a bright child who used to get A's and B pluses. The grade, I got a B minus. And that grade was as a result of hard work. You know, there are those students who even if they don't really work hard, they will always pass. So I was in the category of those who have to work really hard. Work hard and include prayers for you to get the little grade. And so even when I was in college, it was the same thing. In the university, it was the same thing. I used to really to work hard. I have to do an extra reading. I have to go to the library, you know. But also, it is in the university that I discovered my passion and purpose to help the young people. And I would go move around the primary schools around, offer talks, you know, sometimes preach. And I remember this time, and Emmy was talking about being empathetic. When we were in the Christian Union in the evenings, I realized there is a child who used to come and stay at the gates of the university. Every time we were going for the Christian Union, this boy would always come, you know, and the fellowships used to happen at night. And so 2 times, 3 times, this boy is still there, like a 5-year-old boy. And so I was concerned, who is this boy? And so I decided to approach him. Oh, naitwa nani? And so he told me his story. So we planned that one of the days on a weekday, he'll come, I'll find him at the gate, and he'll take me to his place. And I found him and we went, you see, a place where there's no way. I think the boy made a way where there was no way, literally, because akukua na barabara. So the boy would come through shambas because the university I was in was not in town. So he'd pass through the shambas, you know, bushy places to come at least to have an encounter with people. And this boy, the house that they were staying with the grandmom was like a kibanda in the middle of a land, shamba yao, with undone roof. So when it used to rain, wananyeshewa. And well, to cut the long story short, the boy was not having breakfast every time that he was going to school. So sometimes he would walk through the university highways. At least he'll find some mamas preparing some mandazis and tea, and that's how he used to survive. To cut the long story short, I was able to mobilize some funds from some few members of Christian Union, and we went to renovate their house, at least the roof and at least the side, so that they can have shelter. And then I was able to transfer this boy from the school that he was in, because the school that he was in, he was underage, was in a class of, you know, Malia fit, so many things. And we decided to transfer him to the nearest school, you know. It happened in the university. Who taught me those things? Nobody, you know. But I can really attribute all these things to the trainings and the exposure that I got. And I can attribute the person that I am today to my mom. Really, it was the effort of my mother sending me, enda usaidie huku, go and support, go and do this and this, you know. Yeah, so I was just waiting to see some comments, and there are quite a number. I'm grateful for this session. Actually, it was my first time to use Zoom, but at least I've managed. That's Galaxy A10. Wamboi, mental health is very important. We should also let our children know that it is okay not to be okay, and that they should reach out and talk to someone for their mental well-being when things are tough on them. Some children are not free to talk to the parent. So as a parent, should identify someone their child can be free to talk to. Absolutely, absolutely, Wamboi. And sometimes, as Emmy was saying, we need to model what we want our children to be. We have brought our children probably in an environment where we don't talk. When things are not right, wenda kona yako, sort it out, you go to your corner, whoever is being chased, toka wende, and then we expect our children to communicate and to express themselves. Sometimes it may not be easy. There are people in the community, they have aunties who are they're close to, they have pastors, they have community leaders, people they look up to. Can you link up with them? And that's what I call mentorship. Are you able to link up with them? Priscilla says, I have a teenager turning 13 years in April. During the holiday, I realized she used to send love messages to a certain boy. I overreacted and beat her up. Oh my goodness. Thereafter, she started avoiding me and the father. She feels she is a grown-up. How do I go about it? Emmy, would you like to respond to that?
Thank you, Brenda. I was trying to touch on the comments. Yeah. That is a good concern, and really, as a parent, it makes you feel bad when you see your child withdraw instead of coming closer to or wanting help. I think as a parent, first, you just need to be very cautious and understand that it is not abnormal. It is very normal. And it is actually normal for a girl to be attracted to a boy, and for them also to have those love messages. It is not abnormal. However, the way we handle the situation matters a lot. Brenda, you just spoke about maybe getting an auntie or someone to mentor them. As a parent, I know probably you could be knowing the friend, a friend to your daughter for that reason. Do you want to engage? Do you want to engage with a friend? If the girl has withdrawn totally, do you want to also maybe think of helping them and supporting them to do therapy for that reason? We have counseling provision or counseling sessions, because sometimes you might find that they will totally withdraw and not open up. So do you want to engage a therapist or a counselor for that reason? So we have those options. You could also, if you go to church, though sometimes when our children are, when you go and speak and refer them to someone else and they are not safe, they will also close up and not speak. So really matters. You may need to really understand who is a close person to this child and support them. And then maybe you need also to understand that this should be a discussion, that would be an open discussion. Don't try to judge your child. Don't try to show them that you have totally done a wrong thing. Use yourselves as a model. How did you begin? Were you boyfriends? But now help them to realize, not at that point. For how much more can they wait? Let them see that you are a father and a mother. You began with love. Where did you start? Yeah, so you have different ways of approaching it. I hear your concern, and it is really, really, really important to know how to approach. It is also discouraging as a parent to see your child withdraw, but you can try and approach it in those different ways that I've mentioned. It can be helpful. Over to you, Brenda.
Thank you. I can see questions are many. Kindly, we may not be able to respond to all of them, but we can organize another session where we'll get to understand this and we get into the details, you know, the real things. Like someone says, my daughter seems not to know the course to take, and course to take. Do we have a career counselor? There is another one who said she's a single mom. How do we teach our children these skills within this short time? You know, and I can see all your comments and your questions. And I want to tell you that all is not lost. All is not lost. And there is something that Emmy said, that we need to teach our children to have an open mind and to have that posture of learning, you know, like not expecting to be taught in class all the time. University and colleges are supposed to be a stepping stone for you to learn. I did bachelor's degree in marketing. I specialized in marketing, you know, but right now, after graduation, I've done so many other courses to empower me to be a coach, to be a trainer, and to be a mentor, you know. And so sometimes we tend to be very worried of and it is normal. Emmy has said it is normal as a parent to be worried. Okay, I have done these sessions, mentorship, for now 8 years. Yeah, for now 8 years. Teenagers, dealing with teenagers and youth then that are in college, in universities. And I felt there is a need to have this session and allow me to share my screen with you of a program I'm running next week. Okay, are you able to see my screen? I'm running this program from 22nd to 24th. It is called Map Your College Path. It's Optimize Your Journey. I want our young people to be active in their lives. I want to teach them on how to keep boundaries. And Emmy mentioned about boundaries. How are you able to say no and mean no? I have had experiences. I have coached some young people where the parents keep on sending money, you know, after every 1 week, wametuma pesa. Why? Because the child is not able to say no. She doesn't have the financial boundary. So wakati akitumiwa pesa and the friends have realized, anashare tu, ananunulia huyu nini, anakopesha huyu mwingine. There are sexual boundaries, relationship boundaries. To an extent, your child is able to say no, and they mean it no. That means no one takes advantage of them. That means they will not be lured into groups that they are not interested in. I have mentored young people mwenye nasema, imagine Brenda, I don't know how I got into drugs. I just don't know. I know it is wrong. My dad has been telling me it is wrong. I have learned, but I just don't know. You know, talk about peer pressure. How do they have boundaries when it comes to peers? I will also talk about emotional intelligence. And Emmy has talked about it. We have had issues where a boy killed a girl, nakajiua, relationship issues. They are angry, they have hurt each other. And these are things that are happening on the ground. Probably your son, your daughter will get in university and get in a relationship. They love this girl, they will love this boy. And as a parent, there is nothing you can do about it. You know, reality on the ground. We have had issues where they kill each other. Emotional intelligence. What if your son or your daughter knew that it is heated conversation, let me just walk out? Okay. What about accountability? Because for me, having accountability groups are the things that really, really help me. In terms of, I knew I have some people I could call, hey, there is something that is not right. Or I can, if there is something that is, we used to call being exiled. Normal things. I am a Christian, I know my values, but msichana ameamua kuja na kijana and they're spending there and you'll not do anything. You can't report them to anyone, you know. So will you spend there? Ama, what will you do? They are doing their stuff, you know. And so having a group of people that I could trust, I just decide, okay, I don't want to stay in this kind of mess. I just go, they host me, we spend, and the following day, reality on the ground. These are things that are happening. these people will have all the time, a whole 24 hours or 8 hours when the sun is up, and they have one class, 2 hours. What will they be doing in the rest of the 7 or 6 or 5 hours, you know? And these are the things that I want to teach your children. And this program is ideal for if your child is waiting to join college, or they are already joined college, they are already in it. It is ideal for them. It's a 3-day, it will be at night via Zoom. I have done this before. It's not the first time. And there is another program that I run that goes for 3 months, but I want us to do this because it's a need. It's a need. It's something that we need to really empower our children. And at least if you know your child has boundaries and tough boundaries, as a parent, you become more confident even when releasing them. But they'll not only get this package, I have a bonus for them. And the bonus is there is a program I also ran, a 3-day self-awareness. It was masterclass. And also Emmy, as a counseling psychologist, she mentioned about self-awareness. I ran it for 3 days. The program was also 3 days, but I will give them for free. It's pre-recorded. I'll give them for free. It has some assignments and things that will help, activities that will help your children to be more self-aware. No one is 100% self-aware. No one can amefika mwisho, including ourselves, but there is a place where we need to start. And in this class of self-awareness, I've taught them, I'll teach them on how they can ask question, why? Why is my friend telling me they need to come to my place? Why are they asking me for money? Why do I need to join that group? Why am I feeling sad? Why am I feeling like my parents don't love me? Why am I feeling sick? Why am I feeling like I don't want to go to class? And it is tying with mental health. And besides that, I will also give, allow them to be in a 1-month support WhatsApp group. I'll support them. I will be having sessions with them. I'll be chatting with them. I'll be having calls with them to support them, you know. And let me tell you, parents, sometimes the children will not trust you because of some actions we did 5 years ago or 6 years ago. They did a mistake, you shouted at them, and that's how they blocked up. And they will never ever tell you anything. But if you expose your child to a mentor, you know, and I told you there are people in church, there are families in the neighborhood, expose them to those adults so that they can open up to them. I mentioned that again, these young people are complete human beings. So sometimes as a parent, you feel stressed. When you feel stressed, you know what to do. For them, sometimes they don't know what to do, you know. So we need to expose them. Some commit suicide because they don't know any other way. They don't know they need to communicate. They don't know that it's okay. And one of the parents said, we need to teach them that it's okay not to be okay. That it's okay to close yourself and cry, but then when you cry, you have to rise up, you know. So I want you parents to grab this opportunity for your children. The session that I've had, parents have given me much results. Please mute techno pop-up. Parents have given me feedback on the program that I run. And this one is no exceptional because I share my experiences. I open my life to these young people. And the reason as to why they resonate with me, it's because I understand. I've been there, and it's not long ago. I've been there. And so when they talk about being given exile, I know what that means. When they tell me the Mbabas gave them 10,000, I know what that means, you know. So when I'm telling them don't get money from a sponsor, I am giving my own personal experience, you know. And so give your child this gift. I know we have investments, we have savings for them to go to college, but this one is also very, very important for your child. We don't want to have children who are academic geniuses, but they can't stay in one job for 2 months, or they are drunk, or they are not emotionally stable, you know. But these bonuses will only be available if you pay before Tuesday 14th. So if you pay your 3,000, the details are there. You pay before 14th. you are able to get the 3 bonuses. But if you fail, we pay later, your child will just have an opportunity to be in the session. I will share this flyer in the WhatsApp group so that you're able to see. And please give, sometimes your child will not appreciate what you are doing right now. And there is a conversation I was talking about Christian Union on my my Facebook. And sometimes tell your child, I join Christian Union. Mwambie tu, tell them join Christian Union. When they're in school, when you're calling them, tell them, have you joined? It may look like you are pushing, but sometimes they sit back and think, why is mommy telling me to join Christian Union? Or whichever other body that you want them to join, where they'll have a safe community. They may not understand what you are doing. You are pushing them into this. You are exposing them to another way of thinking. You are exposing them to knowledge. You are exposing them to grasp something that is not available at the home setup, or you feel inadequate to deliver or to give that to your child. So please grab this opportunity for your child. I told you we are not helpless, and all is not lost, and all is not gone. Our children will succeed. Our children will have comfortable life in school. They will exploit their potential. And I know there are parents here who feel that my child didn't perform well. They'll not even go to them. They'll not be sponsored by the government. They got a D+ or they got a C-. It's a little bit embarrassing. What will they do? And let me tell you, in this era, we have seen people who have good grades, but they're not able to perform. And I'm a coach. I am a mentor. I have dealt with these cases. Please do not feel pressured. Do not gauge, or rather weigh the success of your child with academic, with chemistry. Where am I using atoms in where I am right now? Where am I using Pythagoras? What was it called? Pythagoras theorem. I mean, where am I using vectors? I'm not. Where am I using history about, well, where am I using all those things? If there is one unit that really that's supporting me what I'm doing right now, it's the communication skills. First semester, communication 101. It's really coming in through for me, So don't feel pressured as a parent. Don't feel like all is lost for your child. Don't feel like there's nothing good that can come out of your child. There is a whole life. Okay. Someone says, my daughter seems confused on the courses to take. How do I guide her? Are there unpaid internships like those done by statues to keep the children busy? Okay, Starres. Yeah, so expose your children. There are churches. Send your child for an internship. Ask your pastor, can my child come once a week to help in filing or documenting this, or even a nearby school? Can you send your child somewhere so that there are skills that they learn when they are on the ground? Grab this opportunity. It's only 3,000 Kenyan shillings. Make the payment, send it to my WhatsApp. I have shared my WhatsApp. That's my personal number. So once you call, you're able to get me, or if you text, you'll be able to get me. Let's give our children this gift. And I want to wish you well. We have come to the end of session. Thank you so much, Emmy, for sacrificing to be here. Emmy is extremely busy. She's a busy lady. I had to hold her skirt. Ngambia Leo, you have to be here. Please come and support these parents. And so thank you so much for your willingness to be here up to this time. We were supposed to end at 8. It's almost 30 minutes past. And I feel there is a need of having another session. We'll try to figure out how this work so that we support you, parents, and we are here for you. So thank you very much. If you have any question, feel free to inbox me. To inbox me. Thank you, and have a lovely night, and looking forward to having your children. Let your children interact with me. They will not remain the same. Guarantee they will not remain the same, because I'm graced, and I'm graced into this, and this is what I do on a daily basis. Give me your children, and we will walk this journey together with them. Thank you very much, and have a lovely night. Bye-bye.